Yeah, while you're on that topic, again, in our global cybersecurity outlook, we said, 66% of the organizations, I guess that was already from last fall, and today, we're probably closer to 85%, expect to have AI to have a significant impact on their cybersecurity. But only 37% have safeguards in place to assess AI tools before deployment. And for those of us in the cybersecurity domain, we've been familiar with this concept of shadow IT, right? That, whatever the official device policy was, users would go out and find their own path, their own tools. They often perform better, they're easier to use, they were mobile friendly, and people would use their own tools and bring them to the office, and that created a vulnerability. What we see now is that people have moved from shadow IT to shadow AI, right? And so, it's like, okay, whatever the, corporate sponsored, LLM model was that wasn't as well branded as the commercial options, people just, vote with their feet, use their phone, and are using these. You're working with these companies day in, day out. How do you see the corporate response on this? How do you see people navigating these kinds of risks with this, from shadow IT to shadow AI, and how are they approaching that?
So there are obviously a lot of shifts that are going on very rapidly right now. The first place that I would encourage people to look is at the basics and how well they're doing at mastering them. This is something I think that we tend to ignore because there's always something more exotic that draws our attention. But ensuring that we've got good adoption of principles of least privilege, zero trust, strong identity hygiene, that if we're developing software that we're using memory-safe languages, that we're taking advantage of some of the AI tools that are being made available today to help to translate code from old C implementations over to Rust. There's a great DARPA program that's available called Tractor. It's translate all C to Rust. And I think it's a good early example of how AI can actually be used to help to transform the landscape of what our IT systems look like today. So just an encouragement toward that, and ensuring that we've got just good adoption of hygiene, and that we've got security operations centers. We're using managed detection and response services in our operations. And you made this point already, but when you're shopping for cyber insurance, actually check out after you've filled your cart with the cyber insurance that you've selected. That's really important. And perhaps the most important is just keep practicing this, because having good disaster recovery is nice in theory, it's better in practice. So these are some of the most important things that organizations of any size can do, and it will deliver the highest ROI of just about any kind of an investment that they could make. The next thing that I'd say is that we probably need to see an evolution of the way that we're structuring our corporate incentives. And this is something that creates friction within environments for adopting better practices for how we navigate this new terrain. In particular, it would be really nice if we could start seeing things like executive compensation tied to risk-aligned OKRs, objectives and key results. So that's just one example. Another example, and many of these ideas, by the way, came up from some of the previous panels that we've been having here. Another one that I thought was quite interesting was budget structures that actually incentivize the right behaviors. So ensuring that the budget is sitting in the right place within the organization and it can be deployed properly without creating friction for what the primary organizational objective might be. And then the last point that I'd like to make on this is the third-party risk problem that we're dealing with has really exploded into an nth-party risk problem. And it's no longer accurate to refer to it as third-party. And maybe it's time for us to consider some new structures, borrowing from other concepts that we're using in the industry. We've been using software and hardware bills of material for quite some time now. It would be interesting for us to think about, and I know it's a daunting consideration, we should think about supply chain bills of material. And these are some general ideas that I think already exist that could probably be leveraged to help organizations better deal with the new threats that we're facing.
Yeah,
Samir,
very
quickly
quick,
on this before
very
I come
quick.
to
You know,
Arya.
just something that both of you said triggers an idea that we are now already in an age where we have to move from permissions to trust. That concept of zero trust is gone, where you had automated authentication privileges given to certain employees at certain levels, and the value chain would sort out the access, and also you would find the rotten apples. Now, when identity can be manipulated using all sorts of tools available, and authentication is no longer the basis of trust, then organizations really need to rethink what trust means in this age. And how do you build a culture where employee participation through the process is central to a safe organization and a safe country, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's in general, awareness in general terms for everybody, which is included in the same chain, and everybody is included in the same network. So the community is very important, and the awareness is very important for that.
Yeah. Now, Dario, you have a broad-based portfolio in Argentina, right? You're responsible for science, innovation, technology, but within that is also cybersecurity. And I'm just curious how you balance these tensions of driving growth, like unlocking the capabilities, the potential that these technologies offer, while also managing for the risks. How do you approach that in your role?
No, that's very interesting because I have on my plate technological services from the state to the state and from the state to the citizens. And that's a real challenge because we have different services for different parts of the structure, and taking care of that part of the structure is so important too. And cybersecurity, it's just a part which is involving everything. So we have to take care of everyone within the system. And if we take that global security in the whole system, we have to know that we are going to be as strong as the weakest link in the network. And that concept for us, which have a lot of different services and with a lot of different technologies implemented in different times, it's a total challenge. But there are some lines of action that we are taking care of and we are developing, which is cooperation between the public and the private sector, of course, and but also cooperation within regional centers and within different nations. For example, the WEF is a very important part for that because it's giving us the opportunity to connect and to have that kind of information coming from different places. And the creation and operation of regional security operations services, DRP, disaster recovery planning strategy. We are developing a total DRP strategy today in Argentina. We are defining a lot of critical infrastructures that can be attacked, and the whole country can be in danger. Well, Costa Rica is one of those examples, but we are taking that in account more when we are talking about situation in the world, as Samir was talking about. And the implementation of cybersecurity training programs is so important because we need the human resources prepared for this kind of operations. We are developing, we are studying in a few months, but we are starting the development of a cyber arena for training our people, not only within the government, but for the public sector too. And taking into account the amount of losses that cybersecurity attacks can bring to companies, can bring to the states, and for the taxpayers in general terms, it really doesn't matter how much money you have to invest on that, but you have to do that. Otherwise, being in danger is not an option for that.